Hey friends, Ed Finnerty here, and thank you for being a part of this time. I'm here to read my new book, A Special Christmas Tree. Some of you might be aware that last year, 2019, the tree that was donated to the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree came from Orange County, New York. In fact, it came from a little village called Florida, New York, where I live with my family. And we were so excited when we found out that our little village was going to have a little part in the the presentation and the tree that's going to be used in the Rockefeller Santa Christmas tree. So here's a beautiful picture of the tree. You could notice how tall and wide it is, just perfectly shaped, and it was gorgeous. A lot of the people in the village took pictures with their family and friends in front of it. And then in November, they had a special tree cutting ceremony. So here you can see one of the workers from the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree coming. That orange chain is a huge chain rope that they use connected to a crane. So when they cut it down, they were able to lift up the tree. And a lot of the branches you can see already were especially wrapped and tied up so they can move it. Here's another picture of the long truck and flatbed that they were going to use to transport this tree. Now, this tree was 77 feet long, so this took it was a great endeavor to get it from our little village, Florida, New York, which is about an hour and 15 minutes from Manhattan. And normally it takes by car, if you were leaving, driving there, it would take about an hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. But this took over 3 hours to get this tree once it was cut down and laid on the truck to Manhattan. Now, here's a beautiful picture of the tree once it was used at night. And they had a special tree lighting ceremony in the city. This was a little bit after Christmas time when we came and looked at it with friends and family. So that's another picture of my daughter and my son in front of the tree. You can see just how big that tree was. And now, sit back, relax, and enjoy a special Christmas tree. One warm day in early fall, a man was driving home after a long day of work in the city when he saw an older couple and their three grandchildren stranded on the side of the road. He pulled over. "How can I help?" he asked. "Well," the woman replied, "our tire is flat as a pancake and the car is dead as a doorknob." The young man got out of the car to change the tire and to work on the engine. He spent some time working on the engine while the grandkids amused themselves by gathering a bunch of pine cones from nearby trees. Eventually, the young man was able to get the car running again. "How much do we owe you?" the old man asked. "Nothing," the young man said. "It was my pleasure." "We have to give you something," the woman insisted. The giggles of the children playing by a pile of pine cones gave the young man an idea. He slowly walked over to the children and asked if he could have one of the pine cones as payment. "That hardly seems fair," the old man said. "One pine cone in exchange for all you've done?" The young man smiled as he looked at the majestic trees all around. "It's more than enough." The kids carefully looked through their pile until they agreed on a perfectly shaped pine cone and handed it to him. The family thanked him again before saying goodbye. As the young man waited for the old couple to drive away safely, he gazed at the city lights starting to shine bright in the early evening. He turned back to the tall, beautiful trees all around him, and a thought popped into his mind. Something big, something amazing. Do you know what that something big, something amazing is? Well, let's keep reading to find out. Most weekends, the young man worked in his garden or around the yard, caring for his property. He had a special talent for cultivating plants, trees, and flowers. Today, though, this young man, his young family enjoyed a cold afternoon in the big city. The excitement, the smells of delicious foods from all the street vendors, the tall buildings, and the colorful decorations were breathtaking. However, their favorite part of the trip was a visit to the ice skating rink, where they enjoyed a delicious cup of hot chocolate by the biggest Christmas tree the kids had ever seen. They tried to count the lights on the tree, but soon they had to give up. On the drive home, The young man passed the spot where he had helped the old couple with their car troubles, and he remembered his great idea. Patience, he thought. Not now, but soon. The following spring, the young dad gathered his kids in the front yard. In his hands, he held a small package, but in his mind was a big plan and a bigger vision. Dad, his daughter said, is the box for me? Is it a doll or jump rope? No, her brother protested. It's a toy truck or a video game for me. No, kids, Dad giggled. It's something better than a toy. It's a pine cone. The kids wrinkled their noses in confusion. A pine cone, his son said. That's not better than a video game. You can have it, he said to his sister. Actually, Dad said, this is not an ordinary pine cone. It's a very special pine cone. It's for all of us, at least for now. Today we are going to help this pine cone fulfill its purpose. A very special purpose. He cracked it open, revealing the seed inside. The kids were now curious. Dad knelt down and dropped the seed into his daughter's hand. Many big and wonderful things in life start out small. We're going to plant this little seed today so it can grow into a big tree. During lunch, Mom told the kids that they had a lot in common with the tree. How? The little girl asked. You and that seed you planted to start off small, but over time, you will all grow up big and strong and have a chance to reach your full potential. Many big and wonderful things in life don't start out big and wonderful. They often start out small, and it takes time, caring, and lots of patience to grow. Both children ran outside the next morning, expecting to see a huge tree in the front yard. But there was not even a tiny sprout. Where is the tree? They cried. Mom and Dad chuckled. You know, Mom said, even though you can't see it, it's already working to become a tall tree. It needs help to grow big and strong, but with lots of love and attention from our family, it will grow up to be great. And one day, with lots of love and attention from your family, you both will grow up and do great things too. Dad smiled. You might not see a lot of change now, but every day it grows little by little. It may look like nothing is happening for a long time. Right now, the tree's roots are growing deep into the ground. The deeper the roots, the stronger the chance it has of reaching its true potential. The kids checked every day to see if anything popped out of the ground. Before long, though, they grew tired of being disappointed and stopped checking. Then one day, when the kids were playing soccer in the yard, the ball rolled over to the spot where they had planted the tree. When the little girl bent down to pick up the ball, she squealed with delight at what she saw coming out of the ground. It was a tiny stem, just taller than 2 inches high. She called her brother, and he sprinted over to see what she was so excited about. There in front of them was the start of the little spruce they had planted weeks ago. With joy, they ran inside to tell their parents. As time passed, the kids grew older. One day, Mom noticed that the girl didn't come in after school and found her sitting under the tree crying. What's wrong, little one? Mom asked. The little girl told her mom that she'd gotten a bad grade on her math test and that some of the kids in class had made fun of her. Mom put her arms around her daughter and they both sat leaning against the tree for a while. Afterwards, Mom told the girl that they would work on their math skills together and that everything would be okay. Years passed and the kids grew even taller. They remembered caring for the tree when it was small, helping it grow big and strong. The boy remembers helping his dad fix one of the cracked branches after he swung on it a little too long. He recalls his father's words that this tree was planted for a special purpose. He wondered what had dad meant. In their teenage years, the kids could be found sitting in the shade of the tree, laughing with their friends, or playing on the tire swing. Sometimes they would climb the tree and relax in its branches. Many years later, the children, now adults, moved to different towns. They got married and started families of their own. However, every December, the entire family continued their tradition of spending a day in the city, looking at decorations, ice skating, eating food from the street vendors, and enjoying a delicious cup of hot chocolate. However, this year would be like no other year. It would be special. The whole family would finally understand what Dad and Mom, now grandparents, have been saying about the tree's special purpose. Do you know what that purpose is? Let's find out. They arrived just in time to see a giant Christmas tree get its last few decorations placed on its majestic branches. As they got closer, Dad smiled and pointed to the tree. Notice anything special about this tree? He asked his family. His son and daughter gasped. This was their tree, the one they had planted many years ago. Not only had it brought joy and happiness to their family for all those years, but now it would spread joy and happiness to millions of people. Travelers would come from around the world to stare in amazement at this beautiful Christmas tree. The next morning, after enjoying Grandma's delicious chocolate chip pancakes, everyone got ready to say goodbye and travel back to their own homes. The grandparents traveled. The grandparents gathered their grandchildren together. They gave each grandchild a small box, specially wrapped. Next to each child's name was written, just like the gift inside this box. You are so special, deeply loved, and full of potential. It might take years for you to develop everything you need, but that's okay. With hard work, perseverance, and lots of love from your family, you will develop all the potential for the world to see. The end. And in the back of the book, I shared some special fun facts. But first, I want to remind you that you are so special, deeply loved by God, and that you are full of potential. And sometimes that potential takes years to develop, but that's okay. So as you continue your walk and your growth with God, just know that He does have a purpose and a plan, and that He loves you deeply. Just like your family loves you, He loves you, and He has a purpose and a plan for each one of you. And here are some fun facts that we can all enjoy about the tree, about the 2019 Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. So first, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree has about 500,000 visitors a day. Now, in 2020, it didn't, especially with all the pandemic going on, it didn't have that many visitors at all. But before then, it would average about 500,000 people visiting this tree every day. The star on the tree weighed 550 pounds. Now, the tree was 77 feet tall and 54 feet wide, and it weighed 12 tons. 12 tons! That's 24,000 pounds. And the book that I wrote this from was really inspired by the 2019 tree, which was donated by the Schultz family, who live in the Village of Florida, which is in Orange County, New York. And one of my favorite and interesting facts about this tree is that the decorations, remember I mentioned how the kids were counting the lights on the tree? Well, there are actually 50,000 lights on the 2019 tree. And if you were to stretch them from one to the other, it would be 7 miles of wire. That's a lot of lights. Now I get tired with just a few lights when I have to put them on the outside of my house. So thank you for being a part of this reading of A Special Christmas Tree. Now, right now, you can get the book free at the library, the Village of Florida Library. There's a free copy. You can sign out and read it. And so thank you for being a part of it. And I hope you have a great day. And remember that you are special, deeply loved by God, and that He has a purpose and a plan for each one of you. All right. Have a great day. Bye.